Anyway, that's me copying my attempts at copying how Kelly Stamps, a famous YouTuber, starts her videos kind of random, but I like it. Randomly. Okay. Which one should I use? Clearly I'm using a ring light if you can't tell. Let's go with this one. Alright. So this is part two of the video I did earlier today when I was outside enjoying the beautiful snow day, although it was pretty windy and cold, to be honest, but it was a nice chance to kind of clear my mind, reset, and get some fresh air. So what I'm calling this video, as you can see in the title, is Emily's Life Self-Help Hacks. But yeah, anyways, so I thought as part two I would just continue with a few tips that I wrote down about little things that I find to be helpful. Some of them are very broad, and you've probably heard from other people who talk about self-help rituals or routines. I'm not going to get too much into ritual, but I just want to get into little things that you can do, little practices during times of stress or uncertainty that I find help me, the general ones and the specific ones. So my first list is more for those of you who might be on a budget, or maybe you don't have as much time or money for the more extravagant things. And then at the end I might throw in ones if you do have the luxury of more time or money. What are some things that I would love to do for myself if I had more resources? I'm not going to say if, I'm going to say when I have more resources. So, that being said, excuse the airplane. Here we go. The first one was in part one, was about taking a moment in nature. Even as simple as it seems, opening your curtains, or opening your window, or peeking your head out, or being near the window on times when maybe you're, I don't know, for those who work in like an office, or you're working from home but you have to be in the space for a long time. Make sure you're getting some sense of fresh air so you don't feel so cooped up. For me, it's a little challenging because my windows in my apartment are like covered up with this special screen protector, so I usually do have to open the window and like open and then close because it's kind of cold, or for privacy reasons because I'm in the kind of apartment where it's like you can see other apartments. Of course, New York City, you're not gonna have a lot of privacy. So that being said, just making sure you're getting fresh air wherever you are during times of maybe intensive work or times where you're feeling stuck. That's really helpful for me. The other one is, obviously I know a lot of people talk about mindfulness, meditation, and prayer. Whatever those are to you, I'm sure a lot of you already practice this. Particularly, my best friend got me involved with TM, which is Transcendental Meditation, in, I think, 2019. Was it 2019? Might have been 2018, actually. Yeah, the fall of 2018. And there are some expenses involved to get trained in this, but it's a one-time thing. You do it for a few days in a row. You work with a one-on-one teacher. I have my, not to offend the TM community, I think the TM, out of all forms of mindfulness and meditation I've practiced, I have found to be the most beneficial. I have broken my habits with it for quite a while now, but when I was doing it very consistently, I really did feel a difference. I still sometimes will use it to go to sleep, which I know they say don't always do that because it could wake you up and give you more energy, but for me it's always worked and given me sleep. And I know I've heard of someone else it does the same for. Especially if you're really wired, I find that it helps you go to sleep faster. What else did I want to say about that? Yes, they say do this twice a day for you to really feel the effects. I know that can be kind of challenging for some people, but I find that back when I have done that, it's pretty powerful stuff. Mind you, some meditation is better than none. I really think whether you are anti-meditation because you're not into the types of meditations that might have spiritual aspects, or you've heard things about it, at the end of the day, what I try to remind people about meditation is it's a biological experience. So when I teach my elderly senior citizens dance and fitness classes once a week, I usually end the class with meditation no matter what. I've been doing that the past several months since we came back, and I find it so important because meditation is helping people to help themselves. Because as human beings, our bodies are not programmed like machines or robots. We are highly capable, but we need a reset. And not always are you gonna have the luxury to have a nap or to go, I don't know what I'm saying, but, excuse me, the beeps. I get so distracted if you can't tell, but I'm not editing these videos, not these early ones. I was gonna say, so it really, as human beings, we need that time to reset and recharge. I think all of us need that. And unfortunately, in our society, especially Western society, and especially within the arts, I feel like that luxury is often not given, or not given for periods long enough, because we value so much about productivity, because productivity means more lucrative situations. So that being said, let's try not to succumb to that part of our culture. I know I fall into that very easily at times, but the older I get, the more I realize I can't participate in society that way. I can't be part of processes where I'm not getting a proper chance to rest or reset, and I don't think that it's right to run ourselves down. I don't think anyone should stick around in work environments that are burning themselves to run themselves down, especially when it comes to your health. And also know that your level and degree of what that means to you is going to be different than the person next to you. For some people, certain things give them more energy. For others, it drains them. So, and I talked about this in my video on side hustles. Go watch that. Just because, yeah, life is too short to be doing things that just drain you. So that was my big tangent. Man, I'm going to get better at these. I have a list this time, everyone. So, just going back into mindfulness, I didn't finish talking about TM and how it works, but yeah, I have my own feelings about the process of getting trained in it and where it comes from, and the financial aspect of it. But I say that the actual experience of doing it itself, I find to be very beneficial. I'm glad I did it. I was able to get it on the training on a scholarship, so it was actually pretty affordable for me. But again, I think meditation is free though. It's for everyone. You don't have to get the apps. Like, there's all these YouTube videos, there's meditation music. You don't even need music. You don't need anything to meditate. You just need yourself. So that, in regards to meditation and mindfulness, I think it's so important to helping your awareness, helping your nervous system, and just helping you check in and give time for yourself. If that's the only thing you do in one day, I think it's one of the best things you can do. And sometimes I fail at it, and I wrote down even yesterday, meditate. It was on my list, meditate, because sometimes I have resistance to it. And I think when there's resistance to doing that, it's a resistance to actually helping yourself. It's a form of self-sabotage. So if I could have a key hack out of all the things I'm about to share, I would actually probably put meditation at the top of the list, because you can meditate anywhere in the world, at any time in your life, at any physical state of your life. And that's one of the things I also love about it, is it can be for everyone, just like prayer, whatever your religion is, whatever you believe in. um, prayer, meditation, mindfulness, breath. Those are like the few things in life that no matter what you're dealing with, it's there for you and it's free. And even if it's just doing a number on your brain, like a placebo effect, or it's actually bringing miracles and real results, or it's actually changing and helping with your biology or your nervous system over a long period of time, we pretty universally know that this helps people. So that would be my number one life hack. Self-help hack. Now, the other things that I think are a little bit more specific now is to find things that are specific to you that clear your mind. I'll say that better. To find things that are specific to you that clear your mind. So for me, and I hope this doesn't feel too personal, but showering, water, bodies of water. I used to think that being an Aquarius was like the age of Aquarius. So I totally thought being an Aquarius sign meant I was like a water sign, but apparently not. Apparently I'm air, if you can't tell by my rambling. But I was gonna say something about water. Maybe it's because I'm from an island. I'm from Guatemala Island. And so I've always been near and surrounded by bodies of water for most of my life. Not all of it, but definitely it's been a part of my life for a long time. And so something about being under running water, different temperatures, the sound of it, for me, it's one of the spaces where I feel the most at peace, where I get the most clarity. So I'm sorry if you ever have to live with me. If you've ever lived with me, I probably take way too long showers because it's like my space where I zen out my mind. Although I know short showers are more eco-friendly, so I'm sorry. I try to cut things elsewhere. The other thing is about bodies of water, like using water as a form of cleansing one's mind is, you're physically cleansing yourself and your skin and taking care of that organ and the sensation, it feels great. But the other is, if we're made up of so much of water in our bodies and we're constantly consuming water, I think it makes sense why humans are so drawn to water, and to the beach, and to, the negative ions, positive ions, I don't know. Something about water and that act of it washing over you, to me, really helps me mentally and emotionally. The other is just housework, cleaning, chores, tasks. If you're a task-oriented person or you like repetition, which I think a lot of dancers do, particularly maybe if you're a ballet dancer, you like repetition. I'm not trying to stereotype all ballet dancers, but if we know there's patterns in going to the bar, even if you do different variations, there's a certain vocabulary. So going back every day, having that structure of a class, I think dancers, some dancers, if you want to be a good dancer, you have to have discipline, right? If you want to be a good artist, you have to have discipline. So I think in order to have discipline, there must be a part of you that enjoys discipline. If you're in the arts, maybe some will tell me I'm wrong, but that being said, at least for dancers, because you can't really get far without discipline if you're a dancer. At least for dancers, I think that means you probably like discipline, which means that some sense of routine or doing tasks or things in repetitive motions could potentially help clear your mind. So for me, I think actually knowing when I see my space getting unorganized or things not in the right place, I'm not like the most type A person, but when I see those things happening, it's like a reflection. A lot of people say it's like a reflection of your mind and what's going on inside, or the chaos of your life, right? When that's getting out of hand, then other things in our home get out of hand. Well, our home is our safe space. And mind you, I'm not a huge home decorator person. I don't accumulate like a lot of things and have the perfect interior design sense. It's not about that, but it's about saying like, okay, when other things are kind of getting chaotic or out of control in the world or in your life, your home can be that safe space where when you are taking care of it, when you're cleaning up after it, just like the showering, when you're cleaning yourself, when you're cleaning your space, you're saying, this is the kind of order and structure and cleanliness I want to exude in my lifestyle and how I practice life, so that, you know, it's one sense of calm, and it's the one thing that you do have control over. I mean, you have a lot of things you actually do have influence over, but there's a lot of things that happen that aren't in your control. So I would say, as far as things to clear the mind, I think cleaning and like small tasks are really helpful, especially in unknown or uncertain times. Another particular thing I personally like is, I'm not against distraction. You know, it's like, what do we do as entertainers, the entertainment side of the industry? Okay, let's talk about that with times of war and performers who go and entertain the troops. It is so key to morale, even in the hospital, and I won't go too depth in this video, but as someone who grew up in hospitals for part of my childhood when I had leukemia as a young girl, distraction was key to helping me during an unknown time in my life. So watching musicals and old movies and comedies, or even like toys, those things were actually really key to me having some sense of escape or distraction from the hard realities of life. So I think that very much carried with me into my adult life, where finding small ways to distract myself. I know social media, it goes overboard, but it helps. So like, one thing I really like to do that helps me feel kind of productive but also distracted and entertained is watching a lot of interviews with celebrities or famous actors, more so actors than dancers. I guess it's just because they're more mainstream sometimes, so I watch them more, but I'm just fascinated by the process of like what a film actor thinks about versus like a theater process. So I mostly, because the mainstream interviews are more for like film, television, celebrities or musicians, I feel like I tend to watch more interviews about them. I find it helps me kind of like, not so much clear my mind, but it helps me aspire to something and feel inspired. Because when you study people who are doing amazing things or have achieved amazing things or overcome difficult times, I think it's inspiring when times are hard for you. So that's one thing I like to do for self-help. Another thing is definitely movement and exercise. I know when I haven't been doing enough movement or exercise and times are slower for me, I just do not feel myself. Like I feel just terrible, and that starts to affect my mind and my emotion. Now I'm not as overboard as some dancers, because some dancers are like, no matter what, like vacation or not, they just want to dance all the time. Some dancers are so good about that, and I admire people like that who just never want to stop moving. But for me, I can take a break from it, but I think just doing something in motion on days that are slower, whether it's taking a walk or stretching, doing a little Pilates, a little yoga, a short burst workout, an improv. I'm just trying to think of things that's, again, like I said, this is the stuff that's on a budget. So maybe you can't go take a fitness class, or you can't afford a personal trainer, or have a gym. Maybe you don't have a gym membership, or you can't go to like a dance class. Then there's so many resources out there if you do have technology, you know, to pull up a YouTube video, or give yourself your own workout, play some music. You play some music and dance in your living room. I just think those small things really make me feel better about myself, and that I showed up for myself that day in a way that I needed for my body. Because it's a constant balancing act. Your body, your mind, your soul, if you believe in your soul or your spiritual well-being, it's truly like trying to deal with all these plates. So I had a friend who had these little circles in her room, and it would be like the different pillars kind of wellness or lifestyle. There's supposed to be like 8 pillars of wellness, I believe. And it's about looking at your life and saying, okay, where am I depleted and where am I thriving? And I don't think at one time is it all going to be there. You know, it's hard to spread your energy out in all those areas. But I think if you give yourself small things for the day, sorry, I had a notification. If you give yourself small things for the day, and on days where you have more time or days where things are overwhelming, you're like, I'm going to do this for myself. I'm going to do that. Now, I want to give a disclaimer that this is coming from someone in their 20s who's not married and who doesn't have children. I definitely have my own struggles, and my attention goes in many different places. I have a lot of different jobs and employers, and then things that come up. Like, I'm constantly balancing different things. But I know that I do have the time to give myself some of these moments, maybe more than someone who has high demands, taking care of a family member or something like that. I will encourage you that no matter what your circumstances are, unless it's like a life or death kind of survival mode that you're in, I do believe that we all can take a small window of time for one of these things, whether it's a little time to just move, do small things, you know, or to meditate or to breathe. And if there isn't a window of time to do that, then are we even living at all? Woo! All right, so I'll try to make this video shorter than my previous video. Another little thing I like to do, this is just an Emily thing, okay? I like to put the kettle on because I love tea, but I love to like put my face near it when it's steaming. That's probably not the best way. I even have one of those cheap face steamers, but I just don't use it very much because of the sanitation process. So I'll just, because I'm already making the tea, I'll just let myself breathe it in, cleanse here a little bit through the nasal cavity, and then my face, open up my pores. And it's kind of like a nice feeling. Obviously, don't stay near the gas stove too long if you have a gas stove, or don't put your face too close or for too long. Can't give you all the skincare routines. But I find that the feeling, again, of steam on my face just helps my mind and my spirit. Maybe that's why I love the hot showers too. It's, again, that idea of allowing something to wash over you. Another thing personally I like to do that helps me kind of clear my mind, stay focused, help myself is like skincare rituals or routines. I like having masks and sprays, that like a mask that I can put on many times, or I like the sheet masks. I know those are less eco-friendly, so I need to cut down on those. But I have like the squeezable mask that you can put a little bit on and it'll last. You have many times you can use for the tube, so it's in one of those eco-friendly containers. So that's probably the best one. But I like those little rituals, you know, like moisturizing, sprays, the jade rollers, like little things to do, particularly for my face. Did I say particularly for my face? Because in our profession, if you're a performer, you need your face right? Whether you're a dancer or an actor or a model or anything, really, if you're a performer, they're gonna see it, So while looks aren't everything, like I'm not here Miss Glam in front of you, but it is important to be able to know that you're putting your best foot forward, because then you'll feel better. So it's not just about doing that and having nice skin routines and things like that for other people, even though it's a very presentational form. I'm not trying to be shallow about it. I just like to share. For me, it makes me feel good, because the amount of times I have to look at myself on a camera or in the mirror in a day is kind of crazy. And it's, especially as a dancer or an actor, like it's more than the average person. You have to be comfortable seeing yourself on screen or being filmed on something, like on stage or in class, whatever it is. I really think nowadays you can't really be uncomfortable being in front of the camera anymore. Maybe if you're in a special realm of the industry, maybe you can get away with that, but even say you're just in a studio all day, you're gonna be in front of a mirror most of the time. So for me, those things really help me, because I think, you know what, there's so much I can't control of how I was born or how things turned out, or do I have this or do I have that. But what I can do is take care of what I do have and try to make sure it's at optimal potential. And sometimes I fail and sometimes I succeed. Sometimes I'm giving my skin more what it needs, and sometimes I'm suffering, or different areas of my life are affecting my skin. So I really like to be in tune with my skin, and I'm more fascinated by it now, just because it's usually a reflection of other things. It might be a reflection of how I'm eating, or the stress in my life, or where my hormones are at that time during the month, So it's a good indicator, actually, of other areas in your life, in my opinion, and from the research I've done. So those are my particular specific self-help tactics. The other one that is kind of personal to me is seeking out encouragement. Seeking out encouragement, not validation. So sometimes I've noticed, for me, I must be a hardcore words of affirmation person with my love language. Sorry, my love language. I'm a little tired. With my love languages, I think one of them must be words of affirmation, because even thinking about this past week, different scenarios have come up, and I've had to reach out to different people in my life just because I felt overwhelmed by decisions and scenarios, and I can make decisions for myself, but sometimes it really helps me to get affirmation in the choices I'm making, not approval necessarily, but just to run my ideas across someone with a different mind or a different perspective, who might be able to give me more insight into what I'm sharing about factual things or circumstances. So I guess that's mostly what a therapist is for, but let's talk about that on another video. I want to talk about accessible therapy, because so many people and celebrities are like, therapy, yes. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I tried that a few times and it was too expensive, but I think we don't talk enough about why a resource like that, which should be accessible to everyone, the one-on-one sessions, I think, should be accessible to more people. Yeah, I was going to say, not everyone has the resources to have that in their life on a consistent basis. I hope that changes, and I know if there's a will, there's a way. I know some people really make it work and figure it out. But I was going to say, maybe if that's not a resource for you, I'm not telling you to go call your friends and family and burden them with all your problems and vent. You can journal, you can write, you can breathe. but we all do need love and support in our life. And I wanted to say about this channel too, I feel very loved and supported by all those who have been subscribing and commenting, and to see that it's, it's not all like strangers, it's like people in my life, who I'm in touch with in different ways, or I haven't talked to in a long time. And I want to say it's very encouraging to me that you're here, even taking the time to even skim this video. I know it's a long time to listen to someone talk, but I do think that if we could all open up more about these things and share our resources and our hacks, that'd be helpful. And I want to say on top of that, part of having this channel, unfortunately, is that I live in a city that is so hyper-focused on productivity in communities that have limited resources, unfortunately, where we're often limited on space and time, we're often overworked, that a lot of the time I find we're all running in, running out, running in, running out. And I get that, that's a reality. And we need to be as present as possible in the moments we are with other people. But sometimes I've noticed more so than where I'm from or where I went to college to living in New York, I've seen a big difference. It's like, we joke about it. People in New York were like, we get you that, like, oh, you live in Harlem, your friend lives in Brooklyn? Okay. You're not gonna see each other much. Because we know how much, I don't know, for me personally, I don't feel bad if there's friends and people I haven't seen in a long time. Like, sometimes I put the pressure on myself, like, oh, I haven't been keeping up with this person in one-on-one, in-person scenarios in a while, but you gotta give people slack. It's a pandemic, cases are going up, that everyone's comfortability is different, and not everyone wants to be attached to their phone or their screens all day, and not everyone wants to be around people all the time. Sometimes we need time alone. So now I'm rambling, but the point of that being said is I think it's funny that in New York City, we just don't take the time. We don't take the time to sit down and to talk in depth like this. Like, if I could go and sit with someone I know and respect and could be like, hey, so what things do you do specifically to kind of clear your mind? I would like to know more of those hacks. Like, I might start doing that with people in my life and say, what is stuff you do? The people I know closely, I kind of know what their things are, but I think more of us could share that. So I'll encourage you, at the end of this video, if you watch to the end, please comment below and share like little hacks you have that help clear your mind or calm yourself during times of unease or stress. And the last thing I was gonna say in general on my lists, because I veered off, is to remember to write things down. So if you don't want to be someone who needs the affirmation and encouragement from like a phone call from someone or meeting up with people, talking with them, if you don't want to overdo it on that, write things down. I sometimes struggle with this a lot. I want to do better at that. And sometimes, even when I have to make decisions, write it down. Just write it down. And also, find research and resources out there that are encouraging. Maybe you need to watch like a funny video. I saw someone a few months ago say, hey, on their story, say, things are really hard for me right now. I could really use some words of encouragement, or if you could send me like a funny meme or video, I would appreciate that. And I really appreciated seeing that because I think it had people reach out to someone who needed it, and also it was a reminder, like a lot of us feel that way, right? And that it's something so little, and it's free to send someone a funny video or something uplifting or encouraging. So I encourage you to do that for others, but also for yourself, Going back to that thing I said about distractions, it's not bad to be distracted sometimes, because it's a difficult life, and I think we all need healthy ways to escape. So it's not about going overboard on media or books that you're not even living your life, But it's okay to use these mediums, to use art. That's what it is, your plays, your books, even some like social media content or television, film. These are areas that have great power and influence to spread ideas. So I don't think it's the worst thing to consume some of it, And also, if times are hard right now, I want to encourage you to look back on the good things of your past. So if you're feeling down about yourself or where you're at, it's okay to be nostalgic and to be like, not to live in the past, but to look back on the good things from your past. Remember, you had those times then. And even if you don't feel like you have it now, you'll have those times later. Life happens in a lot of cycles and waves. So I want to encourage you for that. Another thing I saw recently, and I didn't finish the video, but I saw on someone's story, it was about, oh my gosh, my brain today. It was saying, you want to change your life, try not to complain for a whole week. And I thought about that recently. I was like, wow, if I just didn't open my mouth and say that negative thought or that negative statement, right? Whether it's about yourself or a circumstance, right? It's okay to have your own problems. But the more we dwell on negative language, the more we're affirming negative beliefs in our mind. So if we can stay in that positive mindset, and I'm not saying lie to yourself or about your circumstances, but the more you can kind of affirm things, even if you don't feel like it's true or it's real, that's what manifestation, affirmation is, right? I really think that will be a form of self-help, a little self-help hack that seems small, but if done in practice frequently, it can transcend and become bigger. Because you're changing. When you change everything going on in here, that's when the real outward shift happens. So just want to share that. And another thing on my list, because I'm going on now, is little things too, like making tea. The practice of, for me, like making a tea, like I've been making these matcha lattes this week in the morning with my special blend, and it's just nice. It's nice to do that for yourself, and you're saving more money by making it at home anyways. And it's just about saying like, okay, I care about something that's about to go into me, right? I give time to that, and I put it in. And now I'm not always the best about this with food. If you know me, you know I'm not much of a cook. I would love to be more of one. But the times where I do say like, hold up, whatever else is going on, and I actually take more time to prepare something for myself, I'm like, that felt good. And it kind of has even distracted me during some difficult times. Just the simple act of like chopping something. Again, it's that idea for me personally, doing these little things, little tasks, they just help clear my mind a little bit. So those are my very specific hacks. And then at the end I was going to say, if you got the time and the money, what you doing? I hope you're traveling. I hope you are wining and dining and going to like amazing events and just having this most adventurous life, because with the right resources there's some really amazing things you can experience. Mind you, you can make great experiences it's not all about having all those resources. But I just wanted to kind of end it there, that if anything, if times are hard, just know that you can look forward to the bigger things and that they will come. If you keep practicing all these little things, in my opinion, from all the self-help things I have studied and podcasts and inspirational speakers, that seems to be the key, is like what you're doing on a day-to-day in these little ways, how that's going to affect things in the long term and create things in the long term. Very rarely do we see that life is like the tortoise and the hare when it comes to being the hare, right? Not everyone is a hare. But for the tortoise, I think that's kind of most people's general life path. Tell me if I'm wrong. But I would say it can be very rewarding because you had to wait to have all those big things, you know? I know life is short, but I just want to remind you to be patient with yourself. That's my theme of the month, is to be patient. Be patient with yourself and with your life and your circumstances, to hold on to your hope, to practice these little things that will help you, and to keep trusting your path. So that's my long YouTube video. Thank you so much for watching and listening. If you know this will benefit someone, please tag, like, subscribe, share, all that jazz. Okay, bye.